Thank you, sir. All right, please rise. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order for March 18th at 7 o'clock.
Second.
Lohmeyer,
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Tice,
Aye.
Parsons,
Aye.
Fagan.
Aye.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
You good?
It's gonna be an interesting.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the agenda as sent.
I'll second it.
Lohmeyer,
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Tice,
Aye.
Parsons,
Aye.
Fagan,
Aye.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
All right, do we have any delegation?
No.
Okay.
Well, I guess you guys received invitations to the prom, if you want to call that delegation.
Perfect. Invitation received. Everyone got their tuxes and fancy dresses ready?
Might have to get a haircut, Jim, or something, get slicked up for the dance.
I have to.
I don't do that very often.
All right, consent agenda. Does anyone have any, before we get going, anyone have any questions about the treasurer's report or anything like that? No? If there's no questions, I move that we adopt the minutes of the regular board meeting of February 14th, 2024. I also move, we had no correspondence, right?
Right.
I also move, continue that motion to accept the treasurer's and approve the treasurer's report of February 29th of 2024. To include the petty cash repayment for the elementary school of $101.06, the middle school of $19.55, the high school of $71.98, and the payment of the bills to be allowed in the total of $306,436.63 for March 13th, 2024, and February 2024 payroll in the amount of $509,902.39.
Second.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Fagan,
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Lohmeyer,
Aye.
Tice,
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
All right, so new business, high school graduation requirements.
So after last month's meeting, they shared some information with you guys, just to kind of give you an idea of what's coming down the road. Then after the meeting, we were like, well, we're going to have, the next year's freshmen are coming in. We probably need to have these approved and in place so they realize what they're doing when they have these conversations for setting their schedules and everywhere. So Natasha and Shannon are here to make a recommendation for updating the graduation requirements, starting with the next year's freshman class. I don't know what graduating class is.
2028.
Thank you. So I'll turn
Right.
it over to them.
Oh my gosh, hopefully I didn't get my cut. So obviously I kind of went ahead and typed up something that was in our current handbook language, which is the current requirements for graduation. And then I kind of typed up, like, this is what would probably need to be updated really it needs to be updated no matter what. We are going to propose that we add 2 additional credits, and our reasoning for that is because right now we're having a lot of situations where a lot of seniors go part-time, which it is in our handbook. They have that option too. Most recently, we kind of had a different situation that I haven't experienced before, where we kind of explained to a student that, in order to wrestle, you have to have so many classes to be able to participate in CASHA. And he knew that, and then he, kind of stated that he was going to do work study, and we kind of said that's not really how that works. In the end, basically after wrestling ended, they just quit coming to school. So that was kind of something that I had to have a conversation with their parents. And I understand their reasoning, and I try to understand both sides. And his reasoning was that, he's like, well, I already have all my credits to graduate. I'm like, well, yeah, that is true, So when you look at when you basically look at the graduation requirements, the state of Kansas is changing them a little bit. They're also labeling it, you'll have 4 units of communication, but they do have to have half a credit of communications and speech. They're changing it from history and fine arts to society and humanities, but you still have to have the same 4 credits. They are suggesting that you still have the 3 math and 3 science, but they are adding that you have an additional STEM credit. And then employability and life skills, you do still have to have half a credit of PE and half a credit of health, and then half a credit of financial literacy. Now, we have already we added that in a long time ago before I was here, and I do think that it's great. So that brings us up to 26. So what we're really suggesting is when a kid comes to school, all 4 years of high school, they have the opportunity to earn a total of 32 credits. And so in my mind, what we're doing is we're basically saying it's 2 additional credits as electives or whatever they choose to do IPS. It doesn't mean that they can't still do work study. Actually, we really push them. If you want to do work study, let's do that, but let's do it the right way. Let's find something that's going to be beneficial for you. My biggest thing that I don't like to see is like kids just like basically they say they do work study, but it's really hard to monitor. And so then you just have to like give that to the parents and hope that the parents and the families are really having their kids do and complete a work study type of position. I think that when we look at the increased in STEM requirement, when we look at the increase in electives that are being offered, we're trying to bring in more ag programs, we're trying to boost up our CTE pathways. We're hoping to get kids more into classes that they feel like are going to be beneficial to them with the resources that we have. And sometimes that gets a little bit challenging. Another thought process is, I know some other schools do this. We haven't talked basically had all the discussions, but some students, when they start a CTE pathway in the 8th grade, they can actually earn half a credit in 8th grade that goes towards their basically their CTE and their high school credits, but we haven't really discussed that. And so as you can see, also, they are going to have to, the state of Kansas is also requiring us to start tracking post-secondary assets. So I don't know if you guys saw this in the mix, but that was in there too. And so that's good. This is going to be one of our ways that we are going to ask to track post-secondary assets. So all of the instructional leader forums that I've sat in has said that they have to have 2. They can have more, but then they also said once you meet your 2, you don't just stop tracking them. You continue to track them all 4 years. And work study is in there as well. Trying to think. I think really it just comes down to sometimes when kids go part-time, they start to have like less connection to the school. And so I really want to encourage they have the rest of their lives to work. They have the rest of their lives to go to college and experience, but they don't get the true full 4 years of high school experience. So I think that's kind of basically what we're proposing. Either way, whether we decide to stick with the current 26 credits or bump it up to 28 credits with the graduating class of 2028, this language has to stay in there, both for the current classes who are going to finish out with the current graduating requirements, but then the new graduation requirements either way need to go in there as well so that we know what to prepare and what to tell 8th grade parents coming up. And so before we have our 8th grade enrollment meeting coming up, this is something that we'd like to get solidified so that we're not giving them the wrong information, we're giving them the right information. So, questions? Shanna, anything from you that I missed maybe?
I think that's basically the gist of it. What we see is just a lot of their attendance declines when they don't have very many requirements their senior year. And then so their grades start to decline as well. And we want them to graduate with the highest GPA possible. And they could still do work study in an appropriate way, but this would require more of them, and it would be more challenging to be able to graduate at semester year, senior year. And if they want to graduate, they still could. They're going to have to be aggressive with that. But by setting this in place, it requires more of them, so then they would have some things that they would need to do their senior year. So it would have more meaning, not just, hey, you have to jump through these hoops, especially with the new pathways that we're trying to push through. And if we were to give them credit for things that are in middle school, like a half a credit if they're gonna take intro to the shop class. So if they take that, that can count for them to start a pathway, but only if we add it to their high school transcript. So now for us, we don't get paid for that, them taking that class anyway. So as a school, it's not really an issue, but for the student to be a completer, as far as a pathway, you have to have taken a class in all the 3 different levels. And that first level, we have some kids taking in middle school. So really, I think to be fair to the student, I think we should probably award that half a credit on their high school transcript so they could be a completer since they did complete those classes. And we're not gonna offer a whole ton of options like that, but there will be a few that could be a possibility for that. And if they're gonna get a half a credit in middle school that adds to their high school transcript, we're already having people getting done very, very early. If we stay at 26, that's just gonna continue. So those are some things to think about.
So with these requirements for like certain colleges, is this gonna interfere with them to get enough credits for certain colleges with adding these to the credits that they have to, that you guys are wanting them to take?
They get to choose whatever credits those are outside of the ones that the state is requiring. So they get to choose whatever those are, so that would just go in line with
Okay.
whatever college program that they were interested in. I think you would probably wanna be mindful of how many Allen County classes you're filling in there, because you don't wanna end up with 40 credits to transfer in, you're gonna forfeit some of your freshman scholarship money then. But we have those conversations when we're talking kids through the Allen County and the dual credit piece. But this is more, so that they could finish a pathway from start to finish, and hopefully to keep our seniors more engaged that senior year, so that they can keep their attendance. I'm having more and more scholarships that are asking for their attendance rates. I think that's kind of been an eye opener for some of them. One of them they had to go get for all 4 years of high school. They were like, oh man, my freshman year. Yeah.
That's true.
So hopefully it would hold them a little more accountable and make their senior year a little more meaningful for them.
I did reach out to our league schools and asked what their graduation requirements are. I could probably go back and look at my email. Most of them are not on block scheduling anymore. West Franklin was the only school that also had 28 credits to graduate.
So if you think the minimum number is 21, you gotta have 21 to graduate, but most districts have, like she said, 26 is about the average. But if you look at the block schedule, that's 8 classes compared to a 7-period day. So that's over 4 years, that's 4 more classes that you're gonna have additional. So if you increase the graduation requirement to try to avoid some of these, what do I do my senior, last semester of my senior year, it's not that we want to force them to stay here, but it's raising expectations, one, but it's also meeting that 8-period day as opposed to the 7-period day, which is traditional. And you have that room over a 4-year period, you can get 4 more credits, the opportunity for that. So that's why the 28 makes sense to me in making that recommendation. But that, just so for your awareness, 21 is the minimum, but most districts locally are around 26 is the average, I would say, or 24 to 26. But on the block schedule, again, you have 4 more classes you would be able to take compared to a 7-period day over your 4-year career. So
just throwing this out there, is it the way that everybody's going, they're getting rid of block scheduling? Is that new?
That's a great question.
Is that the way we'll be pushed towards, or is this something that we think we'll keep block scheduling for?
Yeah, honestly, that's a great question. I don't know. I mean, I just know that when I reached out to our other league schools that they are not on block scheduling. So as a school, I don't know.
didn't share why
Pendleton
though.
kind of explains
No,
that.
they didn't share, because I was just asking what their graduation requirements were,
Didn't
and
go
then,
into it.
yeah, and then their schedule, so. And it was in an email, not in a, like, league meeting or
It
anything.
varies by school what schedule you have, just depending on, the local
When you
decision.
start, when you end,
7-period day or the, the block schedule is just, a local decision on that, so.
And availability of teachers when you share them, especially between different buildings and things, is another consideration when you're moving from a 7-period day to an 8-period day and so forth.
I apologize for my confusion. So I can count to 26, obviously. So is it getting to 28, the students completing the 2 or more post-secondary assets? Is that where we get the 28?
no, those are not counted. Post-secondary
Okay, that's
assets are like completely different.
That's what I
mean,
figured. So where are we getting to 28?
Yeah, we're just adding 2 more electives, basically, so kids would have to take 2 more electives. And so hopefully they would choose electives based upon what they wanna do in their, for the rest of their life, if we can offer those electives, is basically what we're asking.
For those work opportunities in those specific areas, I think with 2 counselors next year, I'm pretty excited to get to build that piece of it a little bit deeper. So I think they will really see the benefits from that. When they also required 1 STEM credit, so that does increase 1 credit for them, because we had 3 math and 3 science that we required, and then they added a STEM credit, which is an additional computer, math, science. And so that's one of those, but the other is basically up to them.
That number doesn't add up, but that's okay. Because this, with the STEM, equals 26. Am I correct?
Yes, we took it from the elective.
Well,
Yeah, 2 are electives,
yes, yeah.
Do we have an idea of what classes you're looking to add?
What are we looking to add? I know we're looking to add, well, really more of like a health sciences pathway. What else? And then obviously developing the agriculture pathway.
Okay.
What else?
For this next year, we also need to add a communications class.
Yeah.
So that, we have to use a different teacher for that.
Speech, debate, that type of stuff?
And we have speech we have debate and forensics now that can count towards that, but those both have Saturday requirements, which can be quite difficult for some parents. And so a communications class, which is essentially public speaking, and it's a semester course that will meet that need for our incoming freshmen. So we'll be adding that as well. And then we started to open more pathways, so we will hope to continue to grow those out. And then with the current staff that we have, we would kind of work to flip-flop classes. So, like this year we offer anatomy and physiology, next year the other offering is advanced biology, so that we can continue the options for them, but still utilize our current amount of staff members.
So just another question on top of that, are we gonna be able to cover all these right now? I mean, with our resources that we have now, we have them all covered. If we go ahead and okay this, we'll be able to cover it then.
What we have currently, yes. If we're wanting to expand pathways down the road, that'll be something that I think the district as a whole will need to decide, where we want our priorities to be focused at. A lot of the schools around us, we had the fewest pathways. And so we've really been building that up. We're about in the middle now, so that's good. But in order to finish out some of the pathways, I think this flip-flopping classes is gonna benefit us tremendously, because we don't necessarily have to offer all of the classes in 1 year. We can rotate that with that same staff member. Now, we still need to do a few more pathways. We're gonna need to do some tweaking in there, and we may need an adjustment of staff at some point down the road. But for this coming year, we can meet all of the needs of anything that we've already outlined for this school year.
So for this coming year, does that include the increasing or expanding the health science pathway and ag pathway? Okay, perfect. Just a side question, do we have all these different advanced classes here? Do we have all of those already?
Which classes are you referring to?
Like advanced technology, advanced CTE? I'm assuming we have advanced math and
Well,
science.
CTE is career and technical education, so it's like encompassing all of the agriculture, basically all of those pathways that we were just talking about.
Okay.
So it's
So
kind of
those
an
are all advanced.
it's not one course, it's an over encompassing idea.
Love it.
And then what was your other question?
Technology, advanced tech.
No, so right now, we're kinda, Mr. Stuckey is a pretty good tech teacher, but he's also our debate and forensics and English 11. And so we were looking at adding kind of more of an advanced science technology class, but we can't really make it work, and so we can't complete that pathway because his schedule is pretty full.
Okay. So that would be one down the road.
Great. Any other questions? All right, well, I move that we increase the graduation requirements from 26 to 28 for the incoming freshman class of 2020
And adopt the State Board of Ed.
and adopt the State Board of Education requirements. Thank you.
A second.
Peterson,
Aye.
Parsons,
Aye.
Blomeyer,
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Tice,
Hi.
Fagan,
Aye.
Clinton.
Aye.
All right, letters, training, incentive.
So last month, Ms. Paul presented and with, I wanna call her Beer Bar, but that's her maiden name, but, Renfro, Mrs. Renfro, yeah, it's like going back to
Sorry.
her maiden name, I was like, that's weird, and then Mrs. Reed about letters training, and then I shared some information with you about the time commitment estimate that Mrs. Paul provided for me for each level or unit, and giving that estimate. You know, there's been some questions about, you know, the incentive and the trainings. In that, again, this is not a requirement that we're asking. We're not requiring staff to do it. It's, you know, it's the opportunity to do this. It's something the state is moving towards, the science of reading through the letters training. Several districts are doing this. In my research, the stipends were anywhere from $1,000 to $1,800 that they provided for staff. Again, most of those were done with ESSER funds. Before I make my recommendation, are there any follow-up questions based on, we can maybe answer about letters, or, you know, just questions or concerns? You have anything to add, Mrs. Paul?
Well, right now we have 10
Oh, right.
elementary teachers wanting to do the letters training, which is over half of my staff, so that's a good thing. Classroom teachers, over half of them, so proud of them for doing that. We've got one high school, three lakes, so that would be 3 of our special education teachers are wanting to take letters training. And then one that's wasn't our district, but now she's in another district, but she signed up underneath our district, so that she wouldn't even count. But basically, we're looking at 10 elementary and 1 high school from USD420, which I think that's pretty good numbers. Excited about it. I think a lot of people are very excited about it. It's gonna be a lot of work, though, I do know that.
So just to make this right, what you recommend, that's 4 times, right?
Let's just be twice. It'd be 2 levels that they have, level 1 and level 2. So
Okay.
my
So
recommendation.
not the 4 units, it's unit 1 and 2 is
Yeah.
level 1.
Yes, level 1. My recommendation is $1,500 for each completion of each level of training. And so level 1 and level 2, so it'd be $1,500 for level 1, and that's usually a year it takes to do that. And level 2 would be the next year, and that'd be $1,500 to do that. As I put in my notes, that I'll budget this in the professional development fund. Honestly, since I've been here, guys, the teachers don't go to a lot of professional development outside. You know, it's usually mainly what we have during the school that we schedule. And you know, it's tough to be gone. I mean, all kinds of reasons that you have, and to do this. I believe this is quality professional development. One, it is taking their time outside of their classroom that they will need to be doing a lot of this. We will be providing those days, 4 or 5 days?
Yeah, it'll be 2 full PD days and then 2 half collaboration days that make 1 complete day. And then there will be a day after school all ends, May 29th. All of those teachers will come back for another full day of training.
So I will, you know, we can build the professional development budget to reflect, to compensate this as we go through this for the next 2 years to do that. I'm confident in that. But I do believe it's quality, and it's, again, that, you know, they're making that time commitment outside of the class or their duty day to make this happen. So that's what I'm recommending is for completion, ones that are doing it right now and the ones that have signed up for that. We want to make that clear as well, because we have 5 or 6 that are doing it right now.
Right. In my building, there are 4 right now that are doing letters training, whether they're in stage 2 or stage 1. So
just a question, I know this is a new training, Ted, I'm talking to you about this,
Yeah.
but what if in 2 years after this is done, they come up with another training? I mean, is this just gonna continue to be a ball rolling down the hill that every 2 years we're gonna have to pay for more training like this coming up because they come out with this new training that's the best ever?
Yeah, I mean, that's a reality. I don't know that it usually happens that quick, but it could be, you know, 5 to 10 years, it might happen again, but typically it's not in 10 years, or 2 years, but in 5 to 10, that could be a reality. But from what we're getting, the feedback we're getting, other districts are doing, you know, they feel like this is good quality to talk about, you know, making a difference with reading, more than what we get as when we went to school. I had one reading, you know, teaching reading, you know, secondary science, you know, that's what it was, but this is not a program. How do you say that, Ms. Paul? You say it very well. It's not a program.
yeah, it's not a reading series.
Yeah.
It's just a way of training teachers how to actually teach reading. One of my first grade teachers, she was very skeptical about not doing it. And then one of her colleagues down south said, "You've got to do it. This is the best thing." And she'd been in teaching 20 plus years. She said, "This is the best thing that I can give my students to make them successful readers." She goes, "I've never had this kind of training before." She goes, "This is what I should have been given in college, but I wasn't. I'm so thankful that I did it now." And
Yeah.
she sees huge results with her kids, I guess, so, yeah.
I don't see it being that quick of a turnover for something, the new thing to come in, to be honest with you. But that's just something we'll have to discuss and talk about if that does happen. But right now, this is what the State Board of Ed is on, and, you know, promoting across the state, and it's going across the country as well, that it's effective, so.
So that's my question, Ms. Paul. You talked about results. So what results, like what's our return on investment here? Like what can we expect from funneling this money? I mean, that's almost $77 per hour if you take that divided across 19 and a half hours maximum, or minimum is $77 per hour. That's a lot of money per hour for a teacher, I would assume.
We're hoping that we see very good results. Right now, we are seeing good results with the 4 teachers that we've got in the training right now. And what we're hoping is that we catch these students early with the training that we're getting, and that once they reach middle school and high school, we don't have those reading problems anymore. Not that we won't ever have them, because I'm sure that there will be some, but we just see a lot of our students coming in to our school that don't have the skills, and we think that if we get these skills taught to us correctly, we're going to be able to help these readers that really struggle, whether it's with dyslexia or they just do not understand reading.
What we're being told is that 90% will be on grade level, reading grade level with this. And
So-
it's anywhere from typically from, I don't know, 50 to 75% are on grade level.
So if this incentive were to pass, is there some type of language that we could add to it that we can do it for a year, and then based on results, we can come back to the table and decide, do we continue it?
I think the commitment needs to be there because it's a 2-year basically commitment that a teacher would need to make, and that, you know, going through just half of it and
They have
not.
to do both units.
Yeah, I mean, it's for the true full exposure to that. So I think that would push some people that, I don't know if I want to do it, if
That's
we're
right.
just committing to
So if
1
we
year.
say 2 years, or
Uh-huh.
whatever we say,
Right.
can we put that stipulation on there? I would think that we could add that language.
Yeah,
Choose to pass.
yes, starting next year, within the next 2 years, to have that completed.
So this is above and beyond the funding of taking the scores, correct? Because when they brought it to us last month, they were covering the cost of it,
The course is free.
Free.
Yeah,
because they're covering the cost of it at that point.
right. And it's free to us not to pay for the training, but it's just their time that they put into it.
How did you come up with your $70?
$77 per hour.
Yeah.
I took $1,500, which is the proposed incentive, divided by the 19 and a half hours. So I was just looking at unit one, sorry. Are we, but we're saying 1,500 per year, right? Or is that?
There'd be
that's
4
per
units.
unit.
It'd be 4 units.
So 19.5 hours for
Kathy,
unit
that
one.
hours, that's not right.
1,500 divided by 19 and a half? Calculator doesn't work.
It'd be
Hours in the far right column.
1,500
Okay, with
He
that,
said for
but
one
that
unit, per unit, they get 1,500.
per year.
per year, so
Per
each
level.
volume, there are 2 volumes.
Yeah.
Volumes,
Volume
levels.
1
Okay,
has 4 units.
Thank you.
4 units.
4 units in volume 1, which is
That's
year
at
1.
70 to 87 hours.
So when it says 19 hours for unit 1, I would agree with that, but that is 1 unit of the 4.
So it'd be 87 hours. If you look at the right column on the, at the bottom of unit 4, it gives you that
87.
total for that group.
So what's that divide out to then?
It's gonna be under 50 if I'm thinking right, but I'm not necessarily thinking right.
No, that's not bad, $17 an hour.
Yeah.
Okay,
And that,
that's what I was like, $75, where did I get that?
yeah,
That number
there's-
sounded
there's
high.
4 There's 4 different units per each thing and I don't remember from the sheet that it had the time spread on, this, how much of it is estimated reading, how much of it is estimated
Right.
online, how much of it is estimated on site, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
is
that breaks
separate.
all that down.
Okay,
Yep.
but anyhow, volume 1 has 4 units and that's year 1.
So when we're talking $1,500, then we're talking for completion of volume 1.
Volume 1,
Perfect.
and then they complete
Let's
volume 2,
change-
they
Let's change our language from units to volumes, that works for me.
So just a question, what will this cost the district overall with these 10 teachers or whatever your numbers, because they move a step for their pay scale?
if they choose to.
And our PDC says that you cannot get paid and use it for salary advancement, so they'd have to choose one or the other.
But if they choose to do it on their own, it doesn't, like with ESSER funds, if you get a stipend for ESSER funds and use that for college credit, how is that different than this
But
incentive?
that's ESSER, that's different than our district paying us.
But that was from the district, I don't see it being specifically for college, it's not saying for college credit, if they choose to use it, that's their choice. But it's for completion of the training for each level. So,
It looks like the maximum exposure to us in dollars would be about 30,000, 33,000 if there's 11 of them and it's 3,000 over 2 years.
but if they choose to do the college credit, then they choose to do that, but
So they would get paid twice, one for moving over on the column and then one for the stipend.
they get paid for the incentive, I mean, that's what, if they choose to do that, we're not saying that's what we're giving the money for them to move over.
Incentive is 33,000 overall.
Do we pay for any other continuing education type classes?
Not till they're completed, my understanding, if you can complete your masters, you're given a $2,000, is it stipend bonus or whatever? That's after completion of the masters.
So that's continuing ed, is this a continuing ed course?
There's opportunity for that.
Opportunity,
Yeah.
right, but so do other training programs have the opportunity?
Oh, all of them do, not all of them, I said most of them do, like if they do any online Greenbush, they can get credit, college credit for that as well, and that's what they use to
But are we
do
paying
that.
them to do those on?
But they don't have the option of getting a stipend or college credit.
Right,
Right, but, yeah, but there's those out
They can
there,
get the stipend or the credit,
yeah.
but we don't offer that for other courses.
I'm all about the program. I don't know if the incentive is
right.
the route to go. Cause you talked about earlier opening Pandora's box for continuing classes, but that could open up a Pandora's box for paying for other college type classes or other type of
Currently,
training.
not 5 years down the road,
Right.
current.
So it could potentially lead to a bigger issue. Well, you paid for this letters training, why aren't you paying for this other
Sure, I
training?
understand that, but that's
So-
not the intent, it's just for the completion of
Yeah,
the training.
But I
How
think,
they choose to use it, it's how they.
I see this still as a choice. the training is the choice if you choose to do it or not. These 10 teachers are choosing to do that, which is great. But
It is
we
great.
also have other teachers that choose to do other types of training, whether it's teaching, coaching, for their classes, whether it's math, science, athletics.
Right.
But yet we don't give them the option of receiving a stipend for that training or college credit. They have to take the college credit. They don't have the stipend option.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, if we're gonna implement this, then we need to look at it more totally across the board. Because this, to me, is an exception to what we're currently doing now, not what we're doing now.
Yeah.
This is the exception because we're offering money, a stipend in addition to the college credit. So if we do that for this, I think it needs to be an umbrella. We need to determine what that rate is, whether it's based on how much per credit hour the college credit is, based on the training time that it is, whatever that is. I think it needs to be equitable. It needs to be apples to apples comparison.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
I'm confused too. Sorry, Dina, real quick, did you say that you talked about the PD days and the collab days? Are they gonna be able to utilize that towards this time to complete these?
No.
No, okay.
There's 4 days of the training where it's on site. So we have a trainer coming to Osage City to train our teachers on site.
Okay.
Then the modules and the online work, that is all strictly on their own time.
And that's 100% of these 87 hours is they're on time, like on their own time. That does not include the time that they would be using for the PD days and collab days.
Right.
87 hours. That the 87 hours is in addition to those.
Yeah, I'd have to look at that list again, but I think that's it, Kelly. I'd have to look at that list. I haven't seen it for about 2 weeks, so.
Yeah. I'm just trying to
Yes.
understand the time frame
It says face-to-face, 6 hours for like unit 1.
and unit.
I would assume that's collab.
So that's the 4 days that
So that's
That's
the
6
trainer will
hours
be here,
each day.
that the trainer will be here, that they'll
the
be
trainer will be
face-to-face
here.
for training, in
really
addition to all that
87
online
hours,
work they have.
Yeah.
So what'd you say this was per credit hour?
It's like, pardon me, it was like 17 something.
It'd be less than that because they're already getting paid for those PD days and collab days, right? They get paid, that's from their salary, so it'd be 87 minus 24. And then 1,500 divided by 63.
I think the bigger question is this the right program for our kids, and how do we do the right thing for our kids and not get hung up on whether it's perfectly fair for everybody? I think we're.
I mean, the
missing bigger
opportunity was
picture.
there for everyone to take it.
Right.
That's the thing. I mean, everyone in our district had a chance to jump on board with letters training. And they have said that it is vital in the elementary, that all staff in the elementary, Randy Watson said it, Commissioner of Education said it himself, it's vital for all elementary teachers, administrators, counselors to take letters training. Now, once you get into 8th grade on up, or 6th grade on up, they said it's probably suggested that they take it, highly suggested. But it's really a stress on the elementary because that's where reading is stressed more for our students. And if we have successful readers in the elementary school, there's not much need in the middle school, high school.
So that's where we're coming from though. I mean, there's an option for the elementary, but junior high and high school teachers that need to continue education on for their part in the school, I mean.
Yeah, but they have the opportunity,
They can do
Tyler,
this
is what
with-
I'm saying, to take letters training too.
Yeah.
But
Well, you
it doesn't
can't
sound like
penalize
a
them just
benefit.
because they're choosing not to do the program. That, to me, that kind of sounds like that
Is
you're
reading not
wanting to,
involved in everything that
I
we
mean,
do?
I get that, but
By third
everybody
grade,
has opportunity.
90% of them should be on grade
regardless
level.
of what curriculum it is. If they choose not to do it, we can't penalize them for not choosing not to
I
do
don't
that
know what
training.
the word
We can
penalizing.
encourage them to do it, and our encouragement
That's what
is
the incentive is.
currently
Right.
the credit hours for that, or if you get your master's, then you get a stipend in addition to that. I'm just saying, I'm just looking at the quality of this based on what we're currently doing now and what this could change moving forward.
I don't think anyone's denying the fact that the reading in the program is gonna be substantial and it's gonna work great.
Yep.
I think the training is phenomenal and highly encourage every teacher to do the training if it's that impactful. What I'm hung up on is the incentive part of it. That's where I'm coming from. by all means, let's encourage the teachers to do it.
What's our timeline on getting this rolling? I mean, when do we as a board have to make a decision that
Our first,
around this?
our first training date is August 14th.
Are these teachers gonna take the training regardless of the incentive?
I'm glad that you asked that question, because I see maybe some teachers deciding not to just because it is so time consuming. And I think that as teachers, and I know especially in the high school where we've got a lot of people who are teaching and coaching, I mean, they're so giving of their time. I mean, so I just feel like this is one more thing that we're requiring them to do.
Well, personally, I can't see how we can put a price on this anyway. If it's gonna pay off the way you say it's going to, it's gonna pay off in buckets down the road. This one-time price, and I know we're having the discussion on other credits for other, but this one-time deal to me is well worth it. These kids improve several percentage points, tens of percentage points with this training. I think it's well worth it.
So let me ask that, the reward for the investment, so, are teachers tested throughout this training program?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
is that like time tests, or how are we ensuring that they are putting in the effort, putting in the time, and that we are going to get a return on investment?
They have to pass at the end of each, Kathy, correct me on this, but at the end of each unit, there is a test. And if they pass it at 80% or higher, then they are able to apply for the college credit. If they don't, they can't.
And have our teachers been told that they can like copy answers from other teachers? Because that's my understanding, is that there's sharing of information going on. So I'm just trying to understand, okay, so how are we making sure that our money is being utilized, especially when, let's talk about that last board, they increased taxes for citizens. So are we being fiscally responsible is my question.
Sure.
Myself and another person, I'm butting in again, if you need me to step away, please say so. Mrs. Stuckey and I had study dates every Wednesday night. We had study dates in which we did the independent reading on our own. And then we came together and did the online stuff for a couple hours. And there's quizzes as you go. So we did them together. And so, and what I loved about it was because if there was a question or a non-clarification, it wasn't the answer's A. It was, this is because, but why isn't this? It could have been that. No matter what you do, if somebody's motivation is a check mark, then that's what's going to happen.
It's gonna go in our system.
What's wonderful about my little study group that we had was we could have knocked that sucker out in a whole lot less time than what we did. However, there was discussion after each item. After each unit, there is a test after each unit. We did those on our own. We were in the same room, but we did do a lot of discussing on those. And the final, we were in the same room. We opted to do it on our own. We could have done it together, but we had done so much prep work ahead of time. It was good.
The other thing is, you guys, they do require you to actually do your training and then take that training and actually apply it to a group of students or a student. And then you have to track that student over your training time. So.
The practicum part of it.
And for, what's the time frame that you're tracking them?
The whole time.
Forever. Because honestly, you've got people who are, if there's people who are a checklist item, done. If my motivation is to do this because I want to do it for that kiddo, then I'm going to follow that kiddo until I can't follow that kiddo anymore.
But my issue is that they weren't motivated already for the kids, so really it's like, is the dollar side the motivating factor?
The more you know, the better you do.
Oh, I agree completely.
And you know better, you do better.
But are they going to be learning through the programs, my question?
So just a way to cover this, if I'm thinking out loud from what everybody's saying, what if we just we covered every teacher for a dollar amount per credit hour? I mean, is that what I'm hearing from everybody.
Well, I don't, our negotiated agreement wouldn't allow that.
So let me ask you this, Ms. Reed, what motivated you to do the program? It wasn't financial, it was.
She's a reading teacher.
I know, I understand that.
Reading that, she does her reading.
I get it.
She knows her reading.
I get it.
And so a couple years ago, actually, I think it was 2018, I had an opportunity to do some training with something called Take Flight, which is uses this Orton Gillingham stuff. And I'll be honest, I was started out banging my head against the wall because I don't get it, because it was completely new doing this stuff. I had kiddos that started out with, I can't read. They walk around with their heads not making eye contact. Some of them, a lot of them ended up getting on IEPs. Tutor these kids after school. I tutored these kids in the summer because I believe in it. Not a one of them is on an IEP anymore.
It's fantastic.
There are kiddos who have doing things that are joined clubs because they feel worthy. Because they have options. And that's why I do it. Because I want to give them options.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sorry,
Nope, you're good, thank you.
I'm a word nerd. Any questions?
Anyone else?
And make a motion that we approve the letters as presented.
To be completed within 2 years, starting with 24-25.
Okay.
For this incentive.
I'll second it.
Fagan,
Aye.
Tice,
Can I ask a question before I answer? Do we as a board, can we say that we're going to consider other options that should be available to other teachers?
That wasn't part of the motion.
As it's written, no.
Peterson,
Aye.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Linton,
I vote nay.
Lohmeyer,
Aye.
Parsons.
Nay.
Motion passed 4-3.
All right, early childhood facility architect professional proposal should be in your information there.
So, been talking to Bobby Pearson, local architect, who I think worked with the district before in the past, and she has her own architectural firm locally, and looking at this possibility for an early childhood center. What we're approving here tonight is just the qualifications with her partnering with the group called Multi Studio that she's worked before, and you can see all their qualifications that are listed there. Basically, that's all we're approving. We won't move past phase one, but I'll get a cost estimate to bring to the board of what that's gonna include, the preliminary drawings, some of the background work and get an idea of that. But right now, all we're approving is the qualifications of Bobby Pearson's architectural firm plus working with Multi Studio to help with this project to provide some preliminary drawings. If we do move forward, then we would consider them to be used for phase two. But we were not deciding that tonight. All we're deciding is the approval of their qualifications based on the information that they provided. So. But I'll get a cost estimate for what the first phase is gonna do and bring that to the board before we move forward on that.
Does anyone have any questions about that?
Can you help me remember, is part of this building will the preschool move over to it?
That's part, we'll have to decide of that, there's some talk, like splitting 3 and 4, but interlocal's not really into, it's just something we'll have to work through this process to really figure out what those classrooms are and to do that. So, again, the ultimate goal is that every kid has at least 1 year preschool before they come to kindergarten, and having the space and provided to do that. So, that will be part of the discussion of, will some of it stay here? Will it all be over there? How will that look as we go through that conversation?
Anyone else? No? I move that we accept the architectural professional proposal by Bobby Pearson and the multimedia group.
Second?
Was that you, Corey?
Yes.
Linton,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Blomeyer,
Aye.
Parsons,
Aye.
Fagan,
Aye.
Tice.
Aye.
All right, 2024-2025 academic calendar update.
Yeah, so after we approved it last month, Mr. Reeman was going through making the schedule, and where we had the parent-teacher conferences scheduled for the fall, it would fall on a night that he has like 3 activities going on that night with here at the district, right? And so recommending just to move the parent-teacher conference in the fall break to that next week, which would be parent-teacher conferences October 23rd and 24th, and then move the fall break to the 25th. Again, with hosting, that would just make a nightmare to have parent-teacher conferences and activities going on. So, so making that recommendation to update the calendar to that.
And part of it's just because the athletic calendar bumps back a week because of just the way it rolls, the extra day and stuff, so that's kind of where that came from too.
All right, I make a motion that we accept the recommendations for the calendar adjustments for 2024-2025 academic calendar.
Second.
Parsons,
Aye.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Tice,
Aye.
Fagan,
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Blomeyer.
Aye.
All right, transportation crisis plan.
So at our bus safety meeting last week, I'd gone to a transportation meeting, regional meeting, and Wellsville was there to talk about their bus accident they had on their way to the wrestling tournament. So that got my reminder going about the transportation crisis plan that Mr. Hutton had started, we just hadn't fully implemented, and to being part of the emergency operations plan. So I worked with the bus drivers to get that updated, had a draft and put that together. They gave some feedback, we updated it on that, but it really just helped lead that conversation through that accident that Wellsville had for us to really look at this. I feel like it brought up some good questions of what to do in the event of that, and the main part of that was reunifying with parents in that situation and having a process, and the plan lays that out. It really just helps give us a resource to do that. This will become part of the emergency operations plan, but it will be specific to transportation in incidents that we could possibly have. So recommending to add this to our emergency operations plan as presented.
Make a motion to accept or add the transportation crisis plan as recommended.
Second that.
Tice,
Aye.
Blomeyer,
Aye.
Parsons,
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Fagan.
Aye.
All right, KASB membership renewal.
So each year the invoice is sent for the districts to re-up their membership. What's being presented to you is what the membership would cost as a district, would be $9,200.04. We don't do the season pass. We haven't done that. That just gives some opportunity for professional development. But again, we don't go to a lot of things outside of even our admin team. So we would not be utilizing that as much for that need to do that. And then the other part is the legal assistance fund that we can contact the KSB lawyers for assistance and feedback to do that. They're very proficient in education law, Yeah, so when we have questions about special education, just attendance, discipline, anything, that we can call them to get feedback and advice on for us to move forward. So just recommending we continue our membership and the legal assistance fund with KSB.
Any questions about that? All right, make motion to renew the KSB membership as presented.
Second.
Lohmeyer,
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Tice,
Aye.
Parsons,
Aye.
Fagan,
Aye.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
All right, donation for the engineering class.
Let's go back one.
Oh, go back one.
Building capacity.
Oh, I missed that.
What? We can't
It's on this one.
Yeah, that's guess you don't want to talk about
Did I
that
miss
one.
that?
Is
Oh.
it 7?
I've got it as 8.
I have it in there.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, they're flip-flop between the agenda
Yeah.
and our board explanation.
Oh, is it?
Well
Okay.
then,
Well, that's my bad.
my bad. All right, building capacity discussion. Sorry.
So I've shared with you a spreadsheet that I've started and kind of put together based on information that I've received, getting input from the building principals and just really evaluating the non-resident enrollment, where if we have spots available, depending on capacities as determined by the board, we have to publicize how many spots we have available and what our projected enrollment is. So what you see in front of you is what our current enrollment was for September 20th. That's our count day. That's how many were at each grade level. The next column includes the number of non-resident students that are currently in those grade levels. And so you have an idea of how many are in there now. That column D is the projected enrollment, and I just use where we were at when we came back in January, January, whatever day that was, and that's, once that was cleaned up and kids that returned. So I use that as the projected enrollment, just to kind of give an idea. And so basically in column D, the kindergarten has been moved down to first grade. So, and then I just estimated 40 kindergartners based on what it has been in the past. Would be the projected enrollment in those grade levels. So it's just moved down one to get that. The capacity is basically what would be determined based on the number of teachers per section. As you can see, again, these are just draft form, just kind of getting us a starting point and having the conversation as we look at that, and getting feedback from staff and again the principals to kind of talk about what capacity could be for us in our buildings and grade levels. So that column F is just how many teachers we have at each section. Column G is basically what the current student-teacher ratio is based on the current enrollment of September 20th. So that's what you have for the student-teacher ratio for that grade level. And then what the projected enrollment would be, or projected student-teacher ratio would be, is column H. And then capacity ratio, column I is just what we think the capacity should be, is our starting point here for the conversation for each grade level. And then based on that information, column J would be how many seats would be available if this were to be our capacity, if the board were to approve it, or how we get guidance and ready to make a recommendation. We don't have to have this in place until May 1st. I think I misspoke last time. I thought it was March, but it's actually May 1st. We have to have capacity in place and post it on we have to post our projected enrollment and how many seats available we would have at each grade level. So May 1st, we'd have to have that posted on our district website, and then applications would start in June, and then we'd have the actual lottery, or however, depending on what the capacity is, would happen in July. By July 15th, we have to notify families. The bottom part of the spreadsheet is just some of those, I call them again subcapacities of things to consider, and I find that really hard to difficult to really put some numbers on these, whether it's CTE programs, how many can we allow in that, fine art programs, virtual programs. The admin do a pretty good job of restricting virtual based on student need. But you look at special programs, preschool, high-low incidence, special education, self-contained. I mean, there's a lot of parts you could put to this, but I find that to be difficult to really, and legally, I don't know how we can do that either with special education and put capacity numbers on that. if we do get more kids that have special needs, then we'd have to figure out through our interlocal to provide that support. I don't know if we'll just be sharing kids, and so that supports, if we do get kids that are identified as special ed that come from a neighboring district that's in our co-op, would those services come with them? That's something we'd have to work through as we go through that. So it's hard for me to put numbers on those. So right now, we're just going with grade level as part of the conversation in the capacities. And you can see those totals that you can kind of go with. Again, we could use kids, but we're not hurting for kids. There is talk in the legislature right now is that they would amend this non-resident employment or non-resident enrollment, that districts can take in their history of not in good standing. Right now, the only reason we wouldn't have to take them if they're on expulsion or long-term suspension. We don't have to take them. But if they have, based on our determination, not to be in good standing, they're not on grade level to graduate or something, then there's talk that they would update the language to say we could deny them, which we do already. We're doing that already locally. We do our background checks and say, well, you're not, you got a lot of discipline issues and you're not coming over. We wouldn't consider you in good standing. But there is language out there that to update that so districts can deny enrollment based on not being in good standing at their current district. So I thought the spreadsheet would be a good way to have the conversation, see what thoughts or concerns you have. Again, this is just from feedback from some teachers and the building principals as a starting point to kind of go from there. You guys have anything to add on that?
So can you explain this, because I guess I don't get it, on the current student teacher ratio, like on just going, what is that, second grade?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, right now, we're at 15 kids per teacher. Our projected is 19 kids per teacher.
If you look at it at 54, being that capacity in column E for second grade was 54 is what we've started at, is what capacity could be.
Okay.
When PJ and Corey and I talked, we talked a little bit about building consistency among those grade levels. Mm-hmm. Primary, K through 3, to me, you want a little smaller where you get 4 or 5 or 3 through 5 could maybe handle a little bigger. So do you build some consistency in those grade levels? That's just kind of feedback I'm looking for to come make a recommendation for next month.
So then the -3 seats for non-resident means
there's no capacity in second grade for next year.
Well, and something to consider too is if you take, say, a high school student and they have an elementary sibling or a middle school sibling,
you have to take
regardless if we're over capacity in second grade, if it's a second grader, we're taking them because we're taking a high school student.
Yeah.
So those are.
Because it's by family, correct?
Yeah.
If it's a family, then
We
all their
can't
siblings.
tell one sibling no and the other sibling yes.
Yeah, so right now, if a sophomore got picked and they had a second grade sibling, that sibling would get to come with them.
So then when you guys do your background checks, quote unquote, you're checking for the whole family then, you're not checking for one student? Then?
Not typically would be, would be the individual student, but each building would do that for them. We'd have to be part of that, request records and get that feedback and district.
You can't deny somebody in high school based on their second grade sibling, right?
How does that work?
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know that. I have to put something in the updated language. But it sounds like that we would be able to deny that second grade student that if he or she has issues to base, if the updated language
We can take the high school and not the second grader if the second grader has.
They're not in good standing.
But we can't deny the high school?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would assume that would be. Again, that's pretty new. That language update is pretty new in the legislature. But I think it will change because a lot of people are concerned about that, taking kids not in good standing, because we don't want other people's problems. But that's kind of what Corey and PJ and I, when we met the other day to talk about the agenda, just building some consistency on those grade levels and I don't know what your thoughts are there on that.
So that 19 second graders sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
Awful to me.
That's that big kindergarten class that we had. And
Kindergarten.
Is there
half a year ago.
any specific reason the capacity is different for fourth grade as opposed to third and fifth grade? Is that just based on feedback from
staff and that,
staff?
the staff in that grade level, yeah.
It's the first year they start doing homework and really, what is it, reading to learn instead of learning to read? Isn't that how you put it, Dean?
So that's where that came from, just kind of trying to play with those numbers and as a starting point to do that, you know, but I know we visited a little bit about building some consistency at those different grade levels, but just looking for some guidance and feedback based on that spreadsheet.
I think the 18 in second grade does seem high. As a target, not as a, I mean, we have to deal with what we have to deal with, you know, based on what's gone through, but as a target, I don't think it should be any higher than for first grade or kindergarten, honestly.
We've got some great teachers. They can probably handle it, but okay.
We have great teachers across the board, Callie.
That's fair, that's fair. Okay, that's fair.
Put that many
Sorry.
in my teacher, they might run.
And I understand preschool being a special program, but
Yeah,
as far as non-resident students, are we taking non-resident students in our preschool program?
I don't think so.
Okay, that would seem weird.
but this non-resident is just, it's a K-12 program.
Right.
The non-resident and policy is based on K through 12, not preschool, but
Right.
it's a factor you'll have to take into that as you go through it, so.
Gotcha.
So just because a student would say do 3-year-old preschool, 4-year-old preschool here doesn't necessarily mean that they're automatically gonna.
No, right, because it's a K through 12.
That's essentially what you're talking about is kindergarten is a starting point for the capacity.
Right,
So
yes,
just because they've done preschool here doesn't necessarily mean
right.
they would.
But that's been coming up about where does preschool fall into this?
Yeah.
And it's really in limbo to do that, so.
Cause they're in our building,
know.
we've got the
Yeah.
teachers and
Yeah.
using our facilities, so I would imagine
But
that
that
would still
capacity
count
would be-
towards capacity.
The ratio should be a lot lower, not a lot lower,
Right.
but lower than what your kindergarten is, you know, just because they're so new to the building and everything, so.
I just know the preschool, there's a big need, obviously,
Yeah.
for that in our area.
Oh, for sure.
So, just trying to understand if we're taking non-resident students in that program.
Yeah, but no, right now, that's not part of that, but it's been part of that conversation of where do they fall into that or not, so.
Yeah.
But a good question. Any other guidance or thoughts on capacity and?
I'd like to see the capacity levels all consistently and all about the same, so fourth grade, I'm sorry, you may have to bump your numbers up. That's my opinion, but.
It's kinda hard to have 54 in third grade and then drop it 6 kids the next year with the same, that same group. Hoping that everybody stays.
Good. Any other questions or comments about non-resident policy? And I'll bring a recommendation next month and we can continue to have the discussion and go from there, so.
I think it's a good start.
Just kind of give you an idea where we're at. Again, projected enrollments based on what the enrollment was when we came back second semester, so.
So Mr. Hassan,
Yep.
this is, on second grade, we're dropping that down? or
We'll talk about it in this
Okay.
fall, yeah, just,
All right.
we'll have the conversation.
All right, and in fourth grade, the suggestion was to
Increase that,
increase.
or build some consistency among those grade levels.
Just a question,
Yeah.
I mean, I know this is still early, but surrounding 3A schools, are we gonna be consistent with them also?
We can't take that into factor in making this decision about capacity.
Yeah.
That cannot be a factor in the discussion.
I would kind of think it would be more individualized as opposed to, you're gonna have districts that are gonna open the doors,
Right.
welcome everybody, and you're gonna have other districts that, no, we're good where we're
Yeah,
at.
there are, take everybody and their dog.
I mean, to me, I just see that happening, I mean.
Yeah, and again, that's why we could use students, but we're not hurting for students. But we could always use them, obviously, for budget reasons. But that can be a factor in determining capacity.
Any other questions? All right, now we'll move on to the donation for the engineering
my bad.
class. You're good.
I have an additional one. One, the city of Osage has donated $500 to Mr. Baxter's engineering class for construction of electric car company, but we also received one today from Cask Constructors. They're also donating $500 to Mr. Baxter's to help with the EV car. So want to also recommend accepting that donation from one from the city of Osage for $500 and one from Cask Constructors also for $500.
What are they using this money for?
Going to build an electric vehicle for competitions and different things.
Like a smaller one?
Yeah, a small one, yeah. So, yeah.
All I know is they've asked me, where can I store this? I'm like, I don't know. We're gonna have to talk to Dan, guys.
So, but Brock's doing some legwork to help, finance that. So appreciate him doing that.
Sounds a great
Hopefully
opportunity.
we don't have like the Jeep problem and it catches on fire.
Yeah, that's, hopefully we get that covered.
Is there a projected total cost for this?
No, I think it's just in the program to do that. So, he's getting a third, he's requested a third grant, but I don't remember.
So I guess I'm asking, is he still looking for money?
Oh, yeah. He's trying to help.
Yes.
Yeah, try not to put the burden on the district to do this. So he's doing his diligence I can't remember what the third grant was, but he's trying to get some funds there as well.
Is this for next school year?
Yes, but he's getting the equipment now to be ready for that, so.
Where's the competitions? Is there multiple?
I don't know.
I think he does them at different locations, I think, but I know he's gone to Wichita and then he's taken some kids to the best competition, and I think we had a student who did really well there, or two.
Yeah, for robotics
Yeah.
and wind energy, they're growing and learning, but I think you go to small ones and you get ready for that big
Yeah.
one, so you learn from it, so.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's multiple opportunities for that.
And then sometimes I've sat in and they've had to Zoom with judges and stuff to give them feedback about what they need to do better.
Awesome.
Yeah. Any questions about the donation? If not,
Yeah.
yep. I move that we accept the donations from Cass Construction as well as the City of Osage City for the building of electric cars for the engineering class.
Second.
Heffenstall,
Aye.
Fagan,
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Lohmeyer,
Aye.
Tice,
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
All right, building reports. Anyone have any questions concerning the building reports?
Looks busy.
It's busy.
Yeah.
Busy. Welcome to second part of the year.
Yeah. Sprint to the finish.
Yeah. And superintendent report.
All right, first, end of school year budget projections. I work with Fred Meyer, before spring break. Fred works for Greenbush. He does budget. He helps with school districts for budget. He's worked with the district for a few years now. So he's very aware of our budget, and helping that. With me being new, I built the budget, and so it's a little different than what it was done in the past, but nothing major, but we're on track. We're in good shape, overall with our budget for our spring orders, and we'll be getting that information out at the end of the month or starting next month. We're setting, and we're in a good position based on what we do. I mean, good enough that we're probably, my next point is that the KSDE audit was here before spring break as well. We should be receiving our official audit, information soon.
This week.
Yeah, probably this week. And based on that information, we anticipate that we'll need to republish our budget to have more authority within that budget. Could be anywhere from 150 to 200,000 additional authority within the budget based on some numbers that I didn't estimate right on at risk and something else.
Free and reduced.
Yeah, free and reduced. So that, and for the betterment of the district, so we would have to republish our budget to have some more authority to do that. So, but I'll be sharing that information once we get that. But overall, the projection looks good for us to move forward, just as the district has operated in the past. So we're in a good place as we go through that. So KSD audit, we hopefully get that information soon, and that'll give us that information. Last Friday, had DCS, who does general contracting with school districts to help manage projects big and large. our high school gym locker rooms need some TLC. I know we went through that process and we had a big ticket, you know, it's a big ticket item, do a complete overhaul to really look at that. But we really feel like based on our budget projections within our capital outlay, we can do some things is to update the lockers. I mean, some of them are pretty, the girls are decent shape, but they still need new ones. But compared to the boys, let's just say that. We're gonna epoxy the floor, just kind of clean that up, make that look nice. We're gonna put new ceiling tiles, more durable ceiling tiles as opposed to these type. They'll be more of a PVC type. That'll be more durable and lasting. And then we're gonna look at updating plumbing fixtures in that as well as like partitions for the restrooms and different things. Just really do a facelift on there. You know, Tyler went in there the other night, said it's pretty rough. I agree with him. That's why it's been part of the conversation. But we'll be getting some cost estimates. That's what that Friday was. So I'll be bringing those to you before we move forward. Any big ticket items, obviously the board will have to approve. But we get the ball rolling for the people that they have used, and they'll be sending out requests for proposals now that they've done the measurements and everything for those. But those will be the main things we'll be looking at is locker rooms, the floor, plumbing fixtures, and the ceiling will be the main thing to update. We'll paint it, you know, just spruce it up a little bit, but they need some TLC big time. So we'll be getting some cost estimates and then we'll be getting some bids here in the very near future. I hope to get that done this summer.
So was that roof covered to be fixed over the locker rooms?
Yes.
Okay, so we've already passed that.
Yes, that's been taken care of for the replacement on that. This will just be the ceiling tiles that will be inside because they get knocked out and frustrates Dan. And so we're hoping to get a more sturdier one in there and strengthen up the ceiling grid as part of that too. So
I hope all you guys go look at it because, I mean, it's kind of, after I walk through it, it's pretty embarrassing for every school that comes here that's got to go in those locker rooms. I mean, they're terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad.
It needs to be done. So we'll be bringing that, sorry.
Is this a complete remodel?
I would say, I wouldn't say
previously?
complete remodel, it's just updating, just, you know, again, I think your fresh epoxy on that will help that area look all through that. The coach's office, the locker rooms, and we'll do that. The plumbing fixtures are we kind of did them on our own, so, but if we just update that, would be more of a professional ending look, I guess you could say that. But that shower, you know, not a lot of kids shower anymore, but still the ones we have don't work very well, but it would just really just freshen that up with the new lockers, the ceiling grids, paint job, and the floorings will make a huge difference in there.
Now, is it a long-term goal still to remodel that entire space?
I wouldn't say, that's something we'd have to talk about if we look at a bond issue to really see what we could do for like doing some individual showers in that area. It could be part of that.
Ref room and all that.
Yeah, some of that other room area that we could do based on that, but that'll have to be through if there's a bond project in the future.
Have you looked at, just a question, like the whirlpool? I mean, that thing looks like it's been from like 1940.
Yeah, it's been brought up, so we'll have to look at some of those amenities too as we go through this, Tyler, once we get it cleaned up.
I wouldn't want a kid to get in it, he'd probably get bacteria more than it would to help him heal himself. I mean.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. We're at that. We'll be getting get some RFPs out. TCS will be partnering with them to help manage this project, and which go a lot better than Dan trying to do it because he has so much to do in the summer, getting the building taken care of. So, but we'll be bringing those to you in the near future. So
another thing I want to bring up is when I was in there, not to add to it, but are we looking at doing some fixing on the roof in the high school gym where there's like the tape's falling down and the holes in the roof?
I think Dan's tried to address that at one time. We've had a conversation about it, but I can refresh my memory on that.
How are we sitting on the football locker rooms?
That would be another discussion down the road as we do that. That'd be something we'd have to look at, but I feel this is the priority right now here in the building, so. But that's a definite part of that conversation, whether it's bond down the road or a fixer-upper as we go through that, so.
It's not much better.
Yeah.
Last time I was in them.
Yeah. All right, as you can see, we got rid of the old library furniture. We sold all of it to some neighboring districts, put a price they couldn't refuse, so we'll put that back into the furniture budget that we got from them. So we still are gonna move these two bookcases over to where those study corrals are, so we'll be looking to maybe adjust this for board meetings and do that with these tables, so, but that'll be a summer project to move those over, cause it's a chore to get those moved over there, but we got all that, we don't have to store any of that, we don't have to, it was kinda nice to get rid of it, so it worked out good. Elementary parking lot, so we started our reorganization of that elementary parking lot. Honestly, I forgot about it this morning because I was helping with evacuation drill, and so I didn't really pay attention this morning. It kind of went off my radar. So I know we had some people questioning some things, but again, we're just making a one-way through the alley, as it's called, right, Ms. Paul?
Sorry.
Right?
Yes.
The alley would be just a one-way. There will be no entry from Ellenwood into the elementary parking lot. I stand there, most mornings when I'm out there, and that's just, it's just crossing and kids, and if we can just keep that flow one way in and one way out, it will help with safety majorly. So we'll be evaluating that as we go through here for the rest of the semester, and if we need to make adjustments, we'll do that. So, but I was not able to pay attention today, and but it'll be on my radar for the next few days on that.
Just a question.
Yeah.
Did we ever move forward on having the high school kids exit through the alley to the north?
No.
I don't think they can.
Yeah, they can't. He just brought that up as one of the option, but
Yeah.
we haven't talked about that since you talked about it last time.
So, Ms. Paul, would it help if during the spring sports, those high school kids coming to the stop sign, taking the left, coming across the elementary I watched it today, this afternoon, that is a huge problem.
Straight chaos.
That's
For 10 minutes, it's chaos.
utter chaos. Is there something that we could do about that? To help?
Sorry, I was writing down. It was.
So basically, they come out of the high school parking lot to the stop sign, they turn left and go right to the elementary, and then
Fourth Street.
Instead
turn
of going
right.
straight.
And yeah, we need to do something.
Okay.
That's pretty dangerous.
Is that in our control?
Well,
Well, we can encourage them to do that.
Just keep them going west.
Yeah.
yeah, just straight west. That would be better than coming by elementary.
You'll hit KDOT.
Yeah, because it's just today. You see the kids flying through there.
It happens.
It's not very good idea.
Yeah.
The only bad thing is that we run into is we have parents coming in from the north.
Yeah.
Going up that alley, that would be the only question I would have. How am I gonna let parents come up through the north, up the alley, when I've got that blocked off so the kids in the high school only go west?
No, we
See what I'm
wouldn't.
saying?
We just.
We wouldn't block it off. I will just tell them.
Yeah, we just have to say.
Encourage them
Okay.
Yeah,
to.
you guys need to
I
go
will-
west on that, whatever.
I will be curious
We do
how many
actually-
high schools know the directions.
Yeah.
And I will be curious how many actually listen on the intercom, but.
We do actually have an adult out there, doing the kind of the crosswalk, cause there is no crosswalk when a lot of parents park in the gravel area. And that's where a lot of our students will go across, so we do actually have an adult out there doing the crosswalk, but even though it's not legal, it's at least, we're trying to be as safe as we possibly can with those kiddos.
I wonder if on Mondays and Wednesdays it'd be more hectic, cause it's our closed seminar days. On Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays.
Most of them's out
It's
before.
open, so I
Yeah.
guarantee the majority of them have already left school, but on Mondays and Wednesdays, maybe myself or Officer Felix can go stand on the corner and tell them to keep going straight.
Yeah, I was coming
So we
from the
can do
golf
that.
course, and it was like I must have hit it right at the perfect time, but it was
Yeah,
Yeah.
then make that turn
Yeah.
towards the field.
Yeah. So everyone listening, please just be careful through that intersection, that area around the school, in the mornings, in the afternoons. Just watch out, watch where you're driving.
Yeah, so we'll be monitoring that, just trying to keep that one-way flow through that elementary parking lot. So, but again, bus evacuation, it kind of slipped my mind to kind of keep an eye on that, but we'll do that, so.
Has there ever been talk of trying to figure out how to get in a 2-lane drop off there? Cause that is just backed up like crazy in the mornings, it seems.
Yeah, it's just that, I think it'd be a safety for kids to walk across that first row to get to the car and,
Yeah, I wouldn't have that person out there.
yeah.
honestly.
But still, kids just go sometimes. But I don't know if that's been a conversation, Paul, not since I've
We've
been.
had that conversation, it's hard to, get parents not to stop.
Their
Yeah,
Yeah.
not to stop. If they would just continue on like they're supposed to, that would be much better, but too many of them stop, get their student out, walk them up to the front door, and, which is not really
That's the
necessary for a
problem.
lot of them, but
Well, maybe we should revisit like reshooting the example of the parking lot video because a person in the video is running back to their car.
Oh,
So, I mean, we're kind of portraying it.
I remember that
so
part of that.
just would recommend
Yeah,
reshooting that maybe.
yeah. All right, and then lastly, just negotiations training for those members that are gonna do negotiations. If you need help with that, let me know. You know, it's kind of on your own kind of just thing, but everybody needs to complete the trainings that I provided to you in an email, so, before we start negotiations. So, but if you need assistance with that, let me know, so.
Can you do the 3 legs thing?
Oh, yes,
Do we miss the 3 legs?
yeah, cause it wasn't on
There's no 3 legs.
Yeah, my bad.
But there's a discussion that he can give us the detail on.
So, conversation that's been coming up is providing transportation for, next step kids. Next Step is the program, the 18 to 21-year-old program for kids that graduate high school, but they still are identified as special needs, and they can continue in a program if they choose to from 18 to 21, and that's what Next Step is. Part of their program is going to work sites or different sites as part of their curriculum and program. In the past, 3 Lakes employees have been using their own personal vehicles, and we've signed off on that for their mileage and paid their mileage, and the recommendation has been come back that, you know, no one needs to use their personal vehicles for those types of things. They should be using district or interlocal vehicles to do that. So through conversations that we've had, Dr. Green has brought a recommendation to the members of buying 2 or 3 new vehicles. One, a minibus with what's wheelchair compatible, and then two vans.
Yep.
2 vans. Some districts are pushing back, and I, you know, we as administrator or superintendents, we recommended, you know, sharing vehicles, and some of us have vehicles that we could keep out there to allow them to use. And we can do that with our insurance even, we could do that. But as part of that, we get reimbursement for any kind of transportation we do with special education. And so there's talk of if we have to have an agreement, like if Santa Fe Trail transports one of our kids, we have to have an MOU agreement that they will do that, and that we will chart that, and then we will reimburse them for actually transporting our kid. For mileage, and then they could actually file for the reimbursement from the 308. It's pretty convoluted in doing that. So there was 3 options on the table. That one was using our own, I can't remember them all.
Our own vehicle and our own person.
Yeah, and but she is saying that we need to provide a person. We could probably provide a vehicle, maybe not all the time, but the majority of the time, we might need the white van that we use right now to go take a student out there. We could keep that out there. It has a wheelchair accessibility, but there might be days we might need it too, and something we'd have to work through. But we would have to provide a driver for that as well. And we don't have that person to hang out all day to transport kids and to do that. So,
yeah, and the interlocal, pardon me, the interlocal agreement, as it's written today, the districts are responsible for providing that transportation. So right now, we're not doing that from what I understand. It's being done through 3 Lakes.
How many kids do we have that's doing that?
we're being told next year there'll be, I think, 2 kids, if I remember her saying that. We'll have 2 kids in the program.
I don't know whether we'll get those projections still. I don't think I have the projections up.
But
So in the transportations from here
to work
Santa
sites.
Fe Trail or
Yeah,
to
I mean,
work sites?
we'll have to get them there, but then the main, I mean, that's what we could do, is take them there and drop them off, do whatever we need to do. But it's during their day is the transportation to their work sites that they go to, you know, because that's part of their curriculum. And so before paras were using their personal vehicles to take the kids, and they shut that down just for liability reasons.
Right.
And so they're trying to figure that. She is recommending again, to purchase the 3 vehicles. It'll be an additional cost for us of just over $7,000 as our contribution to that. I mean, we could do that, but there's some districts that can't do that because they're really concerned about enrollment and what they can do and looking to manage their budget in different ways. It's pretty convoluted if the whole providing the vehicles and the transportation, the reporting and documenting all that. I don't know what's the worst of the evils, but.
So they would have vehicles, but then we would have to provide the driver for that vehicle?
They would use a para at that point.
If we provided the vehicle, we'd have to provide the driver.
If they provide the vehicle, then their para.
Their person could do
use
that.
vehicle
Yeah.
to transport.
Right.
Any of the kids.
And it would just stay out there and use it for all kinds of interlocal type things.
We got to a point where we were almost ready to vote on this, and there was a lot of confusion at the last board meeting about one district. It felt like it flipped, another one was really uncertain, there was one that wasn't there. So we're having, a special meeting tomorrow at noon. And whatever way it goes, whether, if we say, yeah, we want them to buy the vehicles and provide transportation, and 4 of the other districts say no, then we'll have to figure it out. And vice versa, if we have enough that say, yes, we want them to buy the vehicles, we're gonna pay that extra cost, and then those that don't want it will end up having to deal with that as well. It's just, that's part of how all that works, but,
And it's 7,000 per year.
they're about $200,000 for the 3 vehicles and then the maintenance and stuff on them, but when you take that and spread that over the years that they finance it, and then also split that out by the district percentages, it gets to a pretty reasonable number. I don't know that it's exactly 7, but it wouldn't be, I don't think it'd be over 10 anyway.
Yeah, no, it won't be over 10.
It'd be kind of nice to know what we've already paid for mileage, I think we've spent quite a bit on mileage over
Yeah,
the.
and other districts have had the same concern about that.
I've questioned that before,
Yeah.
on the mileage that we've spent.
Now, this is mileage for one person right now. There's still gonna be a lot of mileage that's gonna show, because this is just this, what do they call it? I'm sorry, the new direction, or.
Next step.
Next step. This is just next step. It's just one of the programs. This isn't our students that are in the building still, that are still in the K-12 that are going up to Santa Fe Trail or.
So those kids don't count then?
No, this is just the 18 to 21.
Because they go to 3 different work sites, the number of kids, they take them to 3 different work sites during the day. And so they need the vehicles to do that, to manage that.
We're projected to have 1 or 2 next year and the year after, and then bump up to like 4 for the next couple of years, and then 5. So those numbers are climbing.
But it's just,
Don't see
There are
them
other
salary
districts that are going the other way.
person less than $7,000 a year, I
Yeah.
would assume.
we just don't have that person to do that. Yeah. Just sit out there all day and,
I feel like we'd save money by doing the 7,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's all we're kind of looking for, some guidance.
It works that way.
But just, and an awareness of what's going on through that conversation, and I think it would be pretty messy if we tried to do it on our own, with all that and the paperwork you gotta do. Reached out to the state, and that's how they said they would have to do it, and it could be pretty messy to get our reimbursement.
Just want to make sure, in my mind, I was voting in favor of the vehicles. It was my plan, but when we were so confused the other night, I basically said, let's all go back to our boards and come back and know what we want to do, and we can do a vote and be done with it and move on, one way or the other.
But we are required by law to provide that for those students, and that's part of their everyday
Part of their IEPs.
program, yeah.
So unless you guys are dead set against it, my plan will be to vote that we go ahead and pursue the purchase of the vehicles at 3 Lakes. That will also mean that we will amend the language in the interlocal agreement a little bit to show that for that program, 3 Lakes is providing that service.
And the personnel with it.
Yeah.
Will those vehicles be used for anything other than that?
Special Olympics, they'll be using it for, because like they borrow our bus for Special Olympics, but they would use it for that. And there's a few other, things that they use it for, but that would be one for sure.
And can our students participate in that?
Oh, yeah,
Pardon?
oh, yeah. Yeah,
So basically, that would be like more flow-through money that we have to.
right, exactly. But it'd be based on our percentage, yeah, our percentage of the assessment, just increase of that. But that'll be broken down among the 6 districts.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Right now, we're paying 21.19%
it's been pretty consistent.
of the assessment. We've always been around that point. West Franklin's at 19, Linden's at 13.4, Santa Fe Trail's at 31.26, Burlingame's 8.31, Mauritine Valley is 6.52. So anytime there's these kind of costs, they go into the bucket, they get spread out on that formula, those percentages. And that goes back into the amount that we then pay out through the assessments.
So just a question, if it does pass and those districts don't have the money to cover that, then do we have to pick up the slack on that or not?
No, they'll have to, it'll be unfortunate for them that they'll have to make tough budget decisions to make that happen.
Okay.
And we have to do the same thing. I mean,
Yeah.
when we did the salary increases for the paras and as we've done things, you know, we're making adjustments in our budget going to them, to support it. But it's also, it isn't supporting Three Lakes, it's supporting the special need kids that we have, you know, and that's, you just have to look at it from that perspective.
So is there an opener clause on that agreement? Like, how long is this lasting? So I'm just thinking, okay, if we get
They'll
3
always be
years
in
down the
place.
road, what's that?
Those vehicles always be in place if that's.
Yeah, and it'll
That's
just
what I just don't wanna
be,
be contributing to the vehicle, then they say, nope, we're pulling it out.
Yeah, no, once
We don't have
they
the
buy them,
person.
that's, I mean, they're gonna finance
the
it,
interlocal, I don't think we've changed the interlocal agreement
not much.
in all the time I've been on the board.
Oh, really?
I remember very many modifications, maybe 2 or 3 times overall.
Okay.
And that's like 16, 18 years of it. It's not, it just doesn't change. All right, thank you.
Thanks,
That
Todd.
helps.
That's all I have for my report.
All right, I move that we go into executive session to discuss supplemental positions and certified positions pursuant to the non-elected personnel exception under COMA. And the open meeting will resume here in the library at, we'll say 8:50. Is that enough time?
Yeah.
With the superintendent present.
Second.
Peterson,
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
Lowmeyer.
Aye.
Kepenskall.
Aye.
Tice.
Aye.
Fagan. And Litton.
Aye.
All right, we're back in open session. I move that we accept the resignation of Kevin Kramer as the assistant high school golf coach, as well as the resignation of James Bellinger as the activities director for the high school. Also move that we approve the recommendations of Travis Blue as a high school assistant track coach for 23-24 school year, Brock Baxter as a high school assistant track coach for 23-24. The OCES summer school, as presented, there's a lot of names there, as well as accept the recommendation of the middle school summer school of Marion Smith, the middle school STEAM Academy of Brock Baxter and Dustin Stuckey, and the high school summer school of Chandra Dunbar. Sorry if I butchered that.
Second.
Who was the second? Todd, okay. Fagan,
Aye.
Tice,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Blomeyer,
Aye.
Parsons.
All right, I move that we go into executive session to discuss negotiation topics pursuant to the exception for employer-employee negotiations under COMA, and the open meeting will resume in this boardroom at, we'll say 9:02, with superintendent present.
Second.
Linton,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Blomeyer,
Aye.
Parsons,
Aye.
Fagan,
Aye.
Tice.
Aye.
All right, we're back in open session. I move that we adjourn.
A second.
Third.
I don't have room for a third.
Oh, sorry.
Tice.
Aye.
Lohmeyer. Parsons.
Aye.
Linton.
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Fagan.
All right, thanks, everyone.